Hey guys, welcome back to the first upload of this channel. Today I'm going to be doing a Supercoach 2019 review. I want to upload a lot earlier in the season. Just been way too busy with work and things like that. So, yeah, by the time I got any sort of free time whatsoever, it would have been around round 20 when everybody sort of completed their sides and Supercoach is a bit boring. So I thought I'd just wait and do a little bit of a recap on the year we've had. So I'm just going to touch on my overall ranking, talk about whether I was successful or not, individually cover each player on my team, go through the pick and burner of the year I'm staying away from list. Also going to do some 2020 options and breakout picks and a what I learnt segment. So with no further ado, we're going to get straight into it. So once I kind of get rid of that, yep, there we go. So yeah, my overall ranking, was it successful or not? I finished 51,000 as a total score, which is pretty good. 7,080 in the whole comp. Now 207,406. Personally, I think that's really good considering how far I've come. I mean, not really that good at Supercoach last year at all. Didn't really know the proper tactics of playing. Got way too greedy with trades and just a bit of a rookie. Never even, barely finished my team. And I thought I'd give a bit of a crack at it this year. And I think overall pretty well. I scored 2,626. I butchered that, which is a really good score in theory, but as you can see, top 17%. There are some absolute cracking scores over round 23. Blokes getting in the 3,000 range, which is just ridiculous stuff. But considering how I started this year, the top 3%, I think that's pretty good. And as you can see, I did win my grand final. I'm only in the one league. Focused way too much on my side and barely thought about leagues. So I just got thrown straight into it. So with no further ado, we're going to get straight into my team. So, one thing you'll notice about my side as soon as you look at it is, just wait until it loads, the computer is very slow, is I did not get to complete my side. Now, just due to a couple of unnecessary trades, I think I went for a really sort of expensive structure. I didn't start enough pods, and I think it's costed me big time. And I didn't get to loophole Answorth and Logue either, which is kind of annoying. They both played on the Sunday before Naish, so it was really difficult to work around. And the one time Logue scores really well since I've picked him up, and the one time Answorth scores really bad because he's been very solid for my team. But so let's get straight into it. So in defence, we've got Zach Williams at D1. That just shows the pick he is. He's a special player. Exactly what we were hoping for, really. But I didn't think he'd be this good. I mean, 101 average, we love it. Not going to be picking him next year though. I think he's just got way too many injury woes, and he's probably a player you want to stay away from. But for what we got him for, 407k is just spectacular, and what he's been able to do has been superb. So thank you very much for your service, Zach Williams. But not going to go for him next year, I don't think. Next up, we got Jake Lloyd, who finished off on a 108 average, which is really good considering the scores he's had in the past month. I mean, just 80, just all the time, which has been really annoying. I mean, a 4-round average of just 85. It was good to see him respond with a 113 to finish off the year, but doesn't really make up for the amount he's sort of slidden in the last few months of the Supercoach season, which is really I don't know how to explain it, but it's just not what we wanted. It's just unusual because I think he's like third in the comp for disposals or something like that, which is just really good stuff. And I think Dawson would have taken a lot of points from him. That's something to consider. If he's 480k next year, he's definitely one I'm going to consider. Next up, we got Daniel Rich, who was my final upgrade. It's just given me exactly what I hoped for. It was a toss-up between he and Stewart, and I just thought Rich is a little bit more damaging. And I think Brisbane are a serious deal this year, and I was pretty convinced on him. James Sicily, one of the more frustrating picks of the year. It looks good there, that 124. But yeah, he has just been a shocking option overall. There are other players I would rather have. Apologies, my computer is very slow. Just bear with me here, but you look at these scores and it just doesn't make sense, really. I mean, how do you poll that sort of shit? It's really annoying. I mean, when he's at his best, he can score so good, and he's a talented player, but sometimes he doesn't, and it just gets really frustrating. Shannon Hearn, spectacular start to the season. He was D1 for a bit there. Very, very good option. It was looking to be. These scores here are very nice. And ever since he scored that 161 against the Ds, it's just sort of gone pear-shaped. And you see the 112, which is okay, but then from then it's just sort of, really not bad. A few hundreds here and there, but injuries are getting the best of this bloke. He's on the wrong side of 30. And, never again for Shannon Hearn. He's an old man, so I'm not really happy about that. Noah Answorth, well, didn't get to finish my side. Which is, it really is annoying. Just look at where I finished overall, top 3%, and I didn't even have a complete side, which is kind of annoying. I mean, imagine the impact if Lockie Whitfield was there or something like that. What I did was I sideways traded Matt Crouch. I couldn't deal with him anymore. The bloke was just doing my head in. It wasn't a smart move. I might have sideways trade earlier on in the season as well, I think. I'm not quite sure, but it's not something I would really recommend. But Answorth, he's been really good cover for me. He's been scoring, anywhere between 60 and 80, which is good, but at the same time, he's been costing me, good sort of 30 points, in addition to having a primo there. Onto the midfielders. Who would have thought Josh Dunkley in M1? He's so talented. He's a future Brownlow medalist of our game. I think he's a no-brainer next year in the midfield. I think you just pick him. I think you start the three doggies mids. They are so good. What McRae's been able to do has been spectacular as well. But Josh Dunkley, the contested possessions, he's a killer on the field, and one of my favourite picks of the year. I got him in really cheap as well, so I'm pretty sure I got him around Brisbane. So 5.14. He had a very, very low break even. Got him in. Put together a couple of good scores. Thought I think he's gonna be all right. Put him in the forward line. And ever since then, just bang, bang. I mean, look at all his bloody awesome scores. That 202 was so good. One of my favourite picks this year for Josh Dunkley. And the man I just spoke about, Jackson McRae. If you didn't start with him, you're probably missing out there. He's only in, I think, 39% of teams, something like that. 42. So that's still extremely low for how good he is. He's almost like the Tom Mitchell of last year. If you got him in when he dropped to 570k, that's also a really good move. Overall spectacular pick. Definitely starting with him next year. Nate Fyfe, he's my Brownlow predictor. I think he'll win it this year. When he's at his best, he's the best there is really. Numbers wise, not highly in terms of fantasy and Supercoach, but it's just the impact he's got. Those hard ball gets, those really good marks in the air. He kicks goals. He does just a bit of everything. He's a really good leader, and when Freo win and he's up and about, he's going to be really hard to get to not get the 3 votes. And anyone that sort of said that Michael Walters was a bit of a Brownlow favourite, I just don't think there's any way when you're competing against Fifey. He's a spectacular player and he's a gun. Marcus Bonampally, really good. He was my pod for the year. Got him in sideways trade for Crouch. And he wasn't really that much. I got him in for 520k. So just a straight up sideways trade. I wish I didn't do it, and I wish I got him in instead of Merritt and kept Crouch. That would have been a smarter move because Crouch was very damaging over the back half of the season. Put together a couple of really nice scores, and I would have been able to complete the side. But that's what happens, unfortunately. But Bonampally, another sort of Brownlow favourite if McRae and Dunkley don't take points off him, which they will, but he's so talented, the Bont, and a very deserving All-Australian pick. Patrick Cripps, not really a guy that we expected. Bit of Port Adelaide about him, just turns up one week and doesn't the next. You look at these scores here, 194, I mean, seriously, that is one of the best individual performances I've ever seen when I watched that game. But then 70, 115, 70, 152, it just goes up and down. I almost considered putting the VC or the captaincy on him in round 23 because I knew he was going to respond. I mean, it's just a pattern going on here. And a part of me wonders why he can't just score, hundreds as his bad scores. It's sort of let him down a bit. Reason why he's M5 and not M1 or 2. But, I mean, who am I kidding? It's Patrick Cripps. He's such an elite football player. A future star. He's still so young. I think 23 or something like that. So he's got such a long career ahead of him. And if he doesn't win a Brownlow through his career, I'll be absolutely staggered because, when Carlton start winning games, trust me, watch out. He's an elite jet. Lachie Neale, another Brownlow contender. I thought he was taking the piss when he scored that 190. He had 51 touches against the Premiership favourites. If he doesn't get the 3 votes in that game, I don't know who will. Probably Dusty, but I doubt it. 51 touches is a spectacular achievement, and he's probably the best trade of the year. For him to go from Perth to Brisbane was just a really, really good pick up for the Lions. Provide a lot of spirit for that football club, giving them the confidence they need, and I think it was the perfect thing to do for that footy club. Really, really good pick. There's not much to say about him because he's just very, very consistent, and it's good to have him in the team. Clayton Oliver, nowhere near the pick that we wanted. Still a 109 average, which is okay. You probably wanted him to score a bit better. Not really nothing special this year. Melbourne had a very, very poor season. They're going to be more than happy it's over. I'm expecting a huge response for them next year. And Clayton Oliver, he's so good. I mean, a lot of people trade him out at the start of the year. That's why I went down so much in the rankings. I think I was in the 50% in round 2 or 3. I had Fife go down with concussion. Clayton Oliver just couldn't get his shit together. Crouch was a really poor pod, as it turned out. I just had and I had Heaney as well, who was also really poor. But I tried my hardest not to trade him, and if I did, I would have been in so much trouble. Zach Merritt, what can I say? He's more of a fantasy player. That's 78. Gets a lot of the footy, but doesn't really do those Supercoach 1%ers that we see. Being a really good option, just solid, just every week, just that 100 against Gold Coast, not really that good, but just scores that 110 every week, and that's sort of what we picked him for. However, I would have rather kept Matt Crouch there and gotten Bonampally later on, but unfortunately it is what it is, and things you learn from, and we'll try next year and see how we go. But onto the rucks. Going to be really short and sharp with these blokes. Just pick them next year. Anyone that had Goldstein this year, he was a spectacular ruck pod, if I could call him that, but really, really stiff when he scored that 60 in grand final week. The bloke I played in my grand final copped that, and if he played well, I would have lost that quite easily. So really unfortunate for Goldstein owners, but I guess that is the price you pay when you don't pay up for Grundy and Gawn. They're just the best ruckman duo we've probably ever seen in Supercoach in AFL history, really. So I think it's a no-brainer to fork up the cash and start with them next year. They're two absolute beasts. Onto the forward line, Dangerfield probably won't get forward status, I don't think. I don't think many of my forwards will at all, except Gray, but fucking hell, who cares? I'm not picking him next year. Dangerfield, he's had a really good season, but also at the same time he's had a pretty bad one too. I was really, really disgusted watching him play against Essendon. I just thought it was pathetic what he was doing. It just didn't... I know he was probably really, really hurt, but it didn't really have an impact. He didn't even try. It's just a couple of things with Dangerfield. That's gonna annoy a lot of people that I said that, but personally, I'm just not really sure if I'll pick him next year. Definitely an upgrade target, no doubt about that. He's a star, probably another Brownlow favourite. He's so influential and a really good leader of that footy club. I love Danger, but Supercoach wise, I'm sort of second guessing myself a bit. He's had a really, really big price drop. I think he went down to about 550k or something like that, which is around 100k. So not really sure. Still going to think about it. I probably will start him, but then again, a lot of people did this year, and I can't help think if you started somebody else, that was a better option. You would have gone up in the rankings. So a lot of thinking to do there, but no, Dangerfield, really, really good option for next year. Rowan Marshall, how good is this bloke? I mean, seriously, 300k, come in out of nowhere. I don't know who he was. I don't think anyone knew who he was. Comes in at 341k and bang, off to a flyer. He's so good, this bloke. I mean, what he's been able to do is just spectacular. He's a future of St Kilda. I think there's been a lot of talk that Patrick Ryder goes to St Kilda. I'm not really sure. I don't think they need him that much. Ryder, he's not exactly peaking, is he? And Marshall, there's so much to come with this guy. One of my favourite picks of the year, to be honest. Timmy Kelly, huge season. Won't get forward status at all. Very, very awesome. Just solid all around. Can't really handle a tag, I don't think. And a few things did let him down. Maybe a little bit of spirit as well of, wanting to be back in Western Australia. I think he goes to West Coast next year. I'm pretty confident with that. Therefore, I reckon he is a solid midfield target. I think he'll play a lot better footy up there. He'll be more at home, and he'll be that good in the future years. Still so young, and he was the rookie pick of the year last year, who I did miss out on. But I really do like Tim Kelly. Isaac Heaney, not really what we wanted, was it? Probably the most disappointing pick of the year, I think. We're just going to check on his stats now. A lot of people just sideways trade this bloke. I couldn't really afford to do it. I just have to hang on to him and hold my breath, really. I mean, just a lot of inconsistency, couple of bad scores, couple of good scores, a lot of bad scores for a long period of time there, but then he kind of lifted here in the back half of the season. I'm still considering picking him next year. He'll play forward next year for sure, and at that price, I think maybe a good pod. A lot of people will be scared away from him. I think he might be all right. I think he'll be good. But anyway, Travis Boak, probably, I reckon he's had his career best season, without a doubt. If 2014 wasn't, this one definitely was. Where did he come from? I mean, straight off the bat, the first month of footy, he was the best midfielder in the comp for sure. Wrong side of 30 also, this bloke, and what I've seen is just spectacular. I won't be picking him next year. He's a notorious butcher of the footy. I just keep thinking back to that Sydney game where he had like 13 touches, 4 points, no goals, and kicking it like 30% efficiency or some shit like that. That to me just scares me a bit. Can't handle a tag, butchers it a bit, but overall a spectacular season from just a leader of Port Adelaide. I really do like the Power. They're a great footy team. Probably my second team behind the Bombers. Just watching Boki play at his best is so electric, and he's a spectacular player, and great season, but not for me next year, I don't think. And last of all, we got Robert Gray, who was nowhere near the pick that I wanted, but anyway. Sometimes it does backfire. He was my second last upgrade. So got him in, I think around Richmond. I'm pretty sure. He's been solid, but last 2 scores pretty putrid. Not really convinced on him for next year. Anyway, that's the team. So the pick of the year and the burner of the year, which was really tough to think of. For the pick of the year for me, I have to say Rowan Marshall. So this bloke, I spoke briefly on him. I just think he was a sensational pod. 18% of teams, and he was probably by far the best forward in the comp. Well, there's danger, but I don't know where. No one even knew who this guy was, and the ability he's had to impact games, and I just really love what I've seen from him. My favourite pick. Watching him play, so smart around the footy, gets a lot of it too. Often pretty creative as well with his possession. And I guess an honourable mention for the pick of the year is Josh Dunkley. He's another guy that I really, really did I don't know what I'm trying to say here, did want to get in my team. He was going to be my F3. I think he was a lot of people's F3s, but got traded out because he was just an absolute burner in the first 6 rounds. But that's what I mean about sideways trades. Try not to do it. Because ever since Richmond, he's just come out of nowhere. I got him in at the perfect time, I think. And he's been a treat for me. Definitely picking him next year. Burner of the year for me. Don't have him in my team for obvious reasons, but Tom Rockcliffe. I was one of those people that I was one of those blokes, I guess, that got sucked into that 45 possession game in the JLT series against the Kangaroos in like the 40-degree heat. I thought, you know what? I think this is a year of the Rockcliffe. He looks like he's sort of over his injury woes, and he was just such a promising option for us. And for his price, I think it was like 400k or something like that, and I just couldn't resist it. I went in for him, and he did hurt us a lot. I mean, he was looking like the best pick until he played his former team. He was covered in strapping, and he wasn't really as lean as he looked in the preseason, and I think he's just struggling to get his body right. But yeah, I'll just have a quick look at him when my keyboard decides to load. Computer is extremely slow. But anyway, so he hasn't even moved in price. 5k. That's just really, really shattering. So he had 40 touches in the heat against Melbourne in round 1, which was really, really good. Licking your lips there. 116, you take that. But then 36, I mean, this hurt us a lot. And ever since then, he's just been really good and really bad. And then for a long time, just really bad. And just a bit of a disgusting pick, if I'm honest. I'm not going to be getting sucked into him at all next year, unless he's just a GOAT, but I highly doubt it. And I guess the runners-up in burners I'm going to touch on is Angus Brayshaw. So this is why I fell so hard in the rankings. I had to chase ass in the back half of the year, but this bloke is another pod that I started with. Also, I'm always getting sucked into things. Finished third in the Brownlow last year. It was meant to be the year of the Ds. Wasn't meant to be, and I only had him for about, I think, a month maybe, and I traded him out. So I did a couple of sideways trades, which completely influenced my team negatively, therefore didn't get to complete it. So, really disappointing in that side of things. It's at 26 minutes now. This has gone way too long. I'll try and move it on a bit. So I'm going to talk about some blokes that I'm staying away from. So Shannon Hearn, he's obviously old, he's injured, he's finished, he's done. Thank you for your service, mate, but you're out. Just touched on Tom Rockcliffe, never again. Robbie Gray, get out of my team. Not staying away. Staying away from him again. Travis Boak. It's a pretty obvious one, really. Couple of blokes that I'm going to talk about as well. It's going to hurt a few people, but Danger and Dusty, not really thinking about starting either of them next year. They've both reached their peaks, and I think there are other options. A really, really young, talented group of players coming in who I'll talk about later on. But I think they're really good upgrade targets, personally. They won't be that cheap, so yeah, I might start one of them. I'm not sure. I'll have to have a think about it. But I think there are other options, and I'm probably going to hold off that. So, speaking of options, the 2020 options and breakouts, players that I'm really keen to see over their long careers. Number 1 on this list is James Worpel. He's a player I missed out on. He's a damaging player. What he's done this year has been so huge, and I'm not sure how he gets impacted with the likes of Mitchell coming back in the team. It might actually help him, but his last couple of months at footy have been outstanding. I mean, it's just this is a second-year player and really a first-year player in the midfield, and what I've seen has been really, really awesome. I missed out on him in the forward line. He will not get forward status next year. I think that's a bit of a no-brainer. Next up, we got Tim Taranto. He's another pod that I really, really enjoyed watching. I nearly started with him. I started with Crouch instead. Big mistake. I kind of wish I did start with Timmy. But then again, he did drop a lot in price. We look at these scores. Butchered it a little bit. But when he's on fire. He's a future Brownlow medalist as well. He finished the season really slow, and I think it's got a lot to do with the likes of Josh Kelly, Caniglio, and Ward going down. I think he copped a lot of attention from taggers, and for a young fella, I guess that's really overwhelming. Definitely a pick to think about next year. Really leaning towards him. For that price as well, I think he could be a very, very good breakout pick. Josh Dunkley, I spoke about, 2020 option. I'm going to be starting with him for sure, I think. Really, really like him. And Clayton Oliver, for that price, I think the Ds respond. I'm not sure yet. Might be more of an upgrade target. But Yeah, not really sure. We'll have to see what happens over the off season. I'm sure there'll be plenty of things to come, plenty of options that we go with it in our own sort of way. So now, what did we learn this year? Well, one thing I learned, mainly, which really has costed me, was to not trade at all in round one. Well, not even trade in the first, try not to sideways trade either in the first 4 rounds. But just what I did was I don't think I was the only bloke to do this, but I did sideways trade Sam Collins in round 1 for Wilkie. Rookie mistake, because he was really good after that. And Wilkie, they both peaked around the same price. It's just such a stupid thing to do. I won't be doing that next year at all. Because trades like that at the start of the year do impact you later on in the year, and they cost you. And yeah, obviously, if you're going to trade in the first 4 weeks, sideways trade, I think, unless the player is an absolute disaster and, say you picked somebody like a McRae or something like that, and he just kept scoring, 90s or 80s or something, kept butchering it, kept getting tagged. I think maybe for that price, I think you do that, but I think you just got to be really careful on it, because it does bite back and bite you in the arse a bit. But yeah, something I've really sort of learnt not to do, because you never know how they're going to respond. I mean, we saw that with Dunkley, a really terrible start to the season, but I mean, look at the price, look at the talent he is. Yeah, you just never know, I guess. Now, another thing I've sort of learnt is to do your research and study who you bring in. I'm going to use Brayshaw as an example here. So I was completely oblivious to the fact that he is definitely a fantasy player. I didn't know that butchering the football reduced Supercoach stats, and it definitely does. It does big time. He's able to get 30 touches, but why is he scoring 80? Well, if he's kicking at 40%, that's probably got something to do with it. I was completely oblivious to that. But yeah, make sure you research the player that you're going to bring in, because if it's the wrong option, it will hurt you. And they're just a few things that I guess I sort of learnt. Check their injury history. That's why I didn't bring in who was it, Caniglio or something like that. I just think he tends to get injured. I didn't bring in Callie. I didn't bring in Callie, who's actually a really, really good option. But yeah, what happened? He got injured. You just never know, and I think it's just not worth the risk, really. Try and avoid those injury-prone picks, and Tommy Rockcliffe taught me about that, because he was an injury magnet, but I got sucked into him at his best, and it hurt me. So the last thing I'm going to touch on here is the captaincies. Now, with VC and loopholes, I think sometimes we try to be a little bit greedy. I know I definitely was. Just on that, I mean, a 120 is fine, all right? So if a player is scoring 120, don't go ahead and chuck the captaincy on somebody else. I did that a lot of the time. I did it with Dunkley. I think Gawn scored like a 120 or 117 or something like that. I was like, I think I can do better. Put it on Dunkley, and he scored 88 against the Dockers. Was that round 19? He scored 88, and Grundy, round 19. Yeah, it was definitely that week. So did VC'd Grundy for Dunkley there, and it hurt. So I think you don't really want to be too technical with it either. Don't really try to get fancy. I think from what we've learnt over the year, the rucks R1 and R2, I mean, they are they're just the chosen couple, really, and they've got the highest average score in the comp. So I think VCing them, Grundy for Gawn for Grundy, vice versa. I think that's just a bit of a no-brainer. And if you did that all year, you've probably gone up an extra percentage in the ranking. Because, pods, they're not always going to score 150. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. That round 23, we got some cracking scores, but, don't get excited because you're probably not going to see those massive scores from that player ever again. Is Gawn going to score a 212? I really doubt he will again. You never know, but just things like that to think about. Video's getting a bit long. It's at 35 now, so just going to finish it up there. We'll just check up on my grand final here. So wasn't really the best league, really. I think I should have gone a bit higher. But nevertheless, just got up there by 15 points in the end because of that Goldstein score. I think that's what sort of saved me here. Because, Whitfield, obviously, I wish I had him. But a few things not really going to plan this year. But it was really good to get the win. I've never won a Supercoach Grand Final before. So, I think a really good start to, I guess, what's to come next year. But, that's just about it for me. Hopefully you liked the video and you learnt just as much as I did from the year. I know it's annoying I didn't upload anything before this. Didn't really think there was much point in it, but nevertheless there's going to be plenty more content to come over the off season when the draft is on. Going to go over some mid prices in defence, midfield and the forward, also premiums and rookies, so there'll be plenty of stuff to come. But overall, pretty good season. If you made it this far through the video, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next video.